Hi guys, it's Ian from Donk TCG here, and today we're going to be doing an opening for the new Dusk Mane Necrozma GX tins that have just come out. Now, I've managed to pick up 2 half arts from the set Ultra Prism already, so the 2 promos that I'll get from these tins will take me up to the full 4 playset. I don't know any deck right now that would play 4 of this particular card, but you never know what's going to be printed in future, and it's always good to give yourself that option. So we'll start by having a look at the tin itself, and you can see that this really cool artwork on the front here for Dusk Mane Necrozma. On the side, you've got Dawn Winged Necrozma, who you can also pick up in a tin like this. And on the other side, you've got that really cool artwork again for Dusk Mane himself. So, let's have a look at the promo card that you get along with this. There's your code card that you get for online. Now, as I said to you, he was a half art in Ultra Prism, but now he's out in the tins, he's going to be really easy to pick up, easier than he was before certainly. So if you have a look at the card, he has 190 HP basic Pokemon, he's a metal Pokemon and an Ultra Beast. Now, the fact he's an Ultra Beast is really interesting because in our new set, Forbidden Light, we're getting some really good Ultra Beast support. So cards like Beast Ring and Beast Energy, for example, are going to go really well with this type of card. His attacks, well, his first attack for 3 colourless energy is Claw Slash, which does 60. It's not great, but there might be situations in which you use it. His second attack is where the card gets really interesting though, and that's Meteor Tempest. You discard 3 energy from this Pokemon to do 220 damage, and it requires 3 metal and 1 colourless. Now, if you put a choice band on that, you're hitting 250 damage, and you're one-hit KOing everything in the format right now. You're already one-hit KOing stuff like Zoroark, and Golisopod, and Lycanroc, which are all really popular right now. So it's an amazing attack to be using, particularly when you consider things like Mount Coronet and Magnezone as ways to accelerate energy to him and get energy back out of the discard after you've discarded it for the attack. His third and final attack, his GX attack, Sun's Eclipse GX, does 250 damage, but you can only use this attack if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent. Now, that might be a really interesting attack to use early game, potentially, to take a big knockout on, say, a Zoroark or a Buzzwole. If your opponent maybe KOs one of your Magnemite, or maybe you've got an Alolan Vulpix that they take out, it means that you can respond really quickly with Sun's Eclipse GX for a quick knockout if you can't quite make the 4 energy for Meteor Tempest in the early game. So it's a really interesting card, really useful card. Not sure about the partners right now. Magnezone's the obvious one. So you play him with Magnezone, but there may be other things in the future that will go really well with him as well. So we'll pop him to one side for the minute. And we're going to have a look at the packs that you get in the tin. Now, as is usual with these tins, you get 4 packs. So we have Ultra Prism, we have Crimson Invasion, we have Steam Siege, and we have Fates Collide. So Ultra Prism's the one that I'm personally most excited about. Obviously it's the latest set, and there's some really interesting cards in this set. So I'm personally looking at Glaceon GX. I think it's a really interesting card. It could have a lot of different uses and a lot of different decks, and hopefully that's what we're going to see come out of here. Now, pop these down here. In the interest of full disclosure, I have a second tin as we were talking about, and I've already opened that off to the side because you don't need to see the same tin being opened twice. So let's get into the packs. So first up we have Fates Collide. Okay. And our first Fates Collide pack, we have Seal, we have Burmy, we have Larvitar, we have Bronzor, we have Minccino, we have Bronzong, Reverse Hollow, Metal Fortress ability, could be pretty interesting. We have Reuniclus, we have Audino Spirit Link, you know, Mega Audino won Worlds a few years back. We have Helix Fossil Omanyte, and we have an N. And it's always good to get an N. You know, a very useful card, played in a lot of decks. Everybody needs Ns. Okay, so that's our first Fates Collide pack. So, the next pack we're going to look at, Steam Siege. Okay, and we start off with Bergmite. We have Foongoose, Joltik, not the Night March Joltik obviously, unfortunately, Litwick, Ponyta, Yveltal. Now Oblivion Wing Yveltal, okay, saw a lot of play in Turbo Dart decks a little while ago, you know, falling out of favour a little bit, but still a useful card, and the Reverse Hollow. And Primeape, which is sadly not a particularly useful card, but he's a pretty cool Pokemon. Steelix Spirit Link, yeah, if you want to play Steelix EX, why not? And Flaffy. Now, personally, I'm a huge fan of Ampharos. I think he's an awesome Pokemon. His cards maybe haven't always been the best, but as a Pokemon I think he's really cool, and he's one of the ones that I use when I'm playing through Ultra Sun, because I just think he's really, really awesome. So it's nice to see a Flaffy. Captivating Pokepuff. Now this is a really interesting card. You can see there, your opponent reveals his or her hand, put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto your opponent's bench. So you might be saying to yourself, why do you want to fill up your opponent's bench? What would the point be in that? The simple answer there is Empoleon. You know, Empoleon does 20 damage, 20 damage times the number of benched Pokemon that are in play, both yours and your opponent's. So if you have 5 and they hit 5, you're hitting 200 damage. If you put a choice band on there, you're hitting 230, and you're getting KOs on pretty much everything in the format. So your opponent, when they see Empoleon, when they see a Piplup on turn 1, is going to try and control the bench. If you can use Captivating Pokepuff, you force them to play those cards, and it boosts your Empoleon's damage. So that is an interesting card, good card to get. Okay, so we're now on to Crimson Invasion. And we're starting out with a Rosalia, a Gibble. Now, Ascension Gibble, probably the weaker of the two, having only 50 HP, but you know, you never know, you might use it in certain decks. Electabuzz, Chimchar, Pachirisu. Now, I'm a big fan of Pachirisu Raichu GX, so it's always good to see him. Reverse Holo Scurapy. Yeah, what can you say about that? Not great, but it's a Reverse Holo. Alolan Executor. Now, he could be really, really interesting with the GX, kind of a bit of a fun rogue deck, perhaps. Obviously, we have our Energy, and we have Gumshoes. Okay, now, Gumshoes kills in a pre-release. Beyond that, I'm not too sure. Cherrim, grass Pokemon have no weakness. Well, yeah, that could be pretty useful if you're playing Golisopod and you come up against Volcanion, something like that. But again, not one that sees a lot of play. And we have Ancient Crystal. Now, if you're going to play the Reggie deck, great. Other than that, you wouldn't really use this. And again, we have the code card. Okay. And now we're on to Crimson Invasion. I think I said Crimson Invasion before when I actually meant Ultra Prism, so excuse me then, apologies for that. So here we go, Crimson Invasion. Cacnea, Swinub, Mankey, Aaron, Corphish, and Reverse Salandit, that's not bad. Registeel, I really like Registeel as a card, but I've got about 12 of them now. We have Basic Energy. Sea of Nothingness, now he could be really interesting if you're playing something like Raichu to Paralyze. And Miltank. Miltank's got a really interesting ability here. If he's in the active, whenever you attach an energy card to one of your Pokemon, you can heal 90 damage from that Pokemon. So Miltank with, you know, Floatstone on it to get it into the active can be really interesting. Moo Moo Malt, great name for an ability, of course. And Zweilous, again, maybe not the greatest card in the world, but he looks pretty cool. And we have the code card. Okay, so halfway through, and unfortunately, no amazing cards to speak of. A few interesting things, a few things that might see a little bit of play here and there, but let's hope for some better stuff in the second half. So we'll start off again with Fates Collide. Okay, so we're seeing Vullaby to start, then we're seeing Fennekin, then we're seeing Whismur, Minccino, Gothita, Energy Reset and Reverse Holo. Yeah, could be quite interesting in certain decks, I suppose. Omastar, again, relatively interesting card, I suppose, but doesn't see much play. Weezing, well, Weezing, if you want to go down the mill route, could be interesting, I suppose. Okay, his attack is more or less Rocket's handiwork, so he could be useful in certain decks. And Power Memory for Zygarde EX. Okay, again, if you want to be playing Zygarde EX, hitting for 200 damage could be interesting in certain decks. The downside, of course, of this is you can't put a choice band on it, so you are limited to that 200 damage in terms of your tools, but you can play things like Regirock EX to boost the damage, I suppose. And another Ordinal Spirit Link. I think someone's telling me something that I should be playing that deck that won Worlds a few years back that I already mentioned. And finally, we have the code card. So, on to Steam Siege now. And we start out with a Birdmite, Snap from before. We have a Chimchar. We have a Yanma. We have a Mareep. Now, I've already told you that I love Ampharos, so Mareep's pretty cool. We have a Mantine, who's pretty good. Croagunk. Yeah, he's interesting. And here we go, Full Art Steelix EX. Very, very nice. Now, not a card that sees a lot of play, but hey ho, it's a full art, so we're certainly not going to complain about that. And it's got some interesting attacks with Steel type, you know. Wild Edge 80 plus, you may do 50 more damage. If you do this, Pokemon does 20 damage to itself. So 130 for 4 energy and 20 damage to yourself isn't ideal. But at the same time, you know, it can one-shot something like a Gardevoir. Iron Tail for 5 energy, 1 metal, 4 colourless. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 100 damage times the number of heads. In all honesty, this is a ridiculously bad attack. I don't know why you would ever use this, 5 energy and you're not guaranteed any damage done. But hey ho, there might be some game somewhere that someone plays this with Fliptini and wins because of it. Who knows? Gardevoir Spirit Link. Okay, so Mega Gardevoir was a thing a while back. Okay, it's an interesting deck. I played it myself for a bit. And we have Klefki. Now, Klefki is really interesting because his ability here lets you turn him into a tool. So we have something like, in the latest set, we have Gourgeist, who works really well with tools. So that could be something to consider. You discard the tools to do extra damage. You have the Rotoms, which then, if you have 9 tools in the discard, it helps you, it means you can attack for free, sorry. Now obviously Klefki isn't going to count as a tool in the discard, but he can help you boost the damage on that Gourgeist in a pinch if you need it. So that is an interesting card, one to consider. And Greedy Dice. Okay, Greedy Dice, flip a coin. So you can play this card only if you take it as a face down prize card. Before you put it into your hand, flip a coin. If heads, take 1 more prize. This doesn't see much play at all, really, to be honest, but it's quite an interesting card if you're just looking to play for fun. And we have the code card. So, second last pack. Crimson Invasion. Here we go. And it is Crimson Invasion this time. So we have Pumpkaboo, Execute, Weedle, Shellos, Bunnelby, Reverse Magikarp. Now, this is the best Magikarp by far because of that Submerge ability. As long as it's on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon. Especially important when he's got 30 HP and things like Buzzwole are running rampant. So if anybody is looking to play Gyarados, this is the Magikarp that you would choose there. And we have a Salazzle. Okay, Salazzle's a pretty interesting card. Personally, I prefer the Fire types. I'm a fan of Salazzle GX, but this one isn't too bad either. We have the Energy, a Alolan Graveler, Diggersby. Another Sea of Nothingness, I've already said, useful if you're playing deck like Raichu to Paralyze. And we have the code card. So far, we have hit Full Art Steelix EX, and that's been about it really, to be honest. But we don't buy these tins so that we can pull things out of the packs. We buy these tins so that we can get the promos, and anything you get, there's a bonus. Now we've got this one Ultra Prism pack left, and I've already mentioned Glaceon GX is the one that I'm really looking out for here. So let's hope that we pull that. So, we start with a Turtwig, then we have a Rosalia, we have that Ascension Gibble, an Electabuzz, another Chimchar. Oh, Giratina Prism Star. Okay, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may attach 2 Psychic Energy cards from your hand to it. It does 160 for 4, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Not the best Prism Star, I would say the best Prism Star right now is Solgaleo, and then when Diancie comes out in our next set, I think that's going to take over as the number 1. But it's a Prism Star nonetheless, and that's really cool. And we have Torterra. Now, I'm a fan of Torterra as a Pokemon, and I think this is a really interesting one. You have Grass, Colourless, Giga Drain does 50 damage, heal from this Pokemon, the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. I've heard a few people talking about playing this with something like Promo Lurantis to boost the damage and therefore boost the healing. You can obviously put things like Choice Band on there to increase the damage against GXs and EXs and increase the healing at the same time. As a stage 2, it can be a bit clunky, but 180 HP on a 1 prize attacker that heals itself is pretty useful. We've got the Metal Energy, we've got Manaphy in there, and we've got Missing Clover, and Oranguru with that resource management attack. Put 3 cards from the discard pile on the bottom of your deck in any order. Oranguru, Looker, Whistle running around a bit of a deck at the minute. I've seen a few places, things like, played with things like Raichu to paralyse, and that Sea of Nothingness that we mentioned earlier on. So it could be quite an interesting card. And obviously the code. So, unfortunately, no Glaceon GX. We can but hope for future packs. But I'm happy with the Steelix EX half art, that's pretty cool. And I was buying this, as I said at the start, to get the 3rd and 4th Dusk Mane Necrozma anyway. And now that I've got all of those, I'm prepared for the future if I need to play that deck. Thanks very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed watching this opening. Please make sure that you're checking out Donk TCG on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, our YouTube channel obviously, all the usual kind of places that you'll find us. Any questions, any comments, please leave them, we'll be happy to get in touch. Thanks again for watching, goodbye.